record. All right, everyone. Thanks very, very much for tuning in to what we're doing today, a deep dive into why you should never hire a buyer agent. Well, at least why you shouldn't hire a buyer agent right now. My name's Erik Hatch of Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching out of Fargo, North Dakota. And it's my pleasure to walk you through exactly how we as a company have used this model of not hiring buyer agents, but instead hiring partners and showing partners at that to really grow our infrastructure in our world. So here's what I want. Here's the rules. Is if you are watching live, I want this to be a conversation and not a presentation. That means I'm hoping that you are asking questions. I just put it in the chat box there. I want to be able to answer any questions that you have as we go through. I'm expecting us to be about 45 minutes to fully articulate and answer questions. And then, of course, we can be a resource for you in any other sort of way. Hatch Realty is one of the top 50 real estate brokerages in the country based out of Fargo, North Dakota. And we run essentially as a team model. And man, we are just on fire right now. We're up about 30% from where we were this time last year. And that's despite COVID and everything else. So massive, massive growth in our world right now. And one of the reasons is because of this partner model. In addition, Hatch Coaching is a company that we started about 4 years ago with the desire and hope to help systemize and scale people's businesses and to redefine how people treat people. And so here we find ourselves today using the leverage of Hatch Coaching and the platform of what we have to share with you what we're doing with Hatch Realty, as well as some of my coaching clients that are using this. My goodness, they have found a ton of value and have created really great wealth, really great retention, and so many other things. So again, this is a conversation, not just a presentation. If you are watching live, throw in the chat box some questions. But we're going to get rolling. I'm going to share with you a PowerPoint as well. So let me quick share my screen here. That's what we want. And then let me hit the old present button. Okay, here we go. Diving in, buckle up my pretties. Let's dive into why you shouldn't hire a buyer agent. Now, don't get me wrong. I think hiring a buyer agent is a good move eventually, but it's an irresponsible one. I want to show you how we're structured at Hatch Realty because it's different than most people. We're a team of 38 people pacing to do between 800 and 850 transactions this year. That is a big amount of transactions for the number of people that we have, 38 today. We're totally turning on the growth button, and we have 5 people that are starting with us in the next 2 weeks, as well as maybe another half dozen or so by the end of the year. So we are just believing in the system in the nth degree and are going super deep. But here's what you need to know is we're going to close over 800 transactions from 13 people in production. Take a look. 3 listing agents, 7 buyer agents, and 3 expansion agents. Did you see that? Did you catch that? Because 13 people in production to do 800 transactions. I'm no math wizard, but I'm pretty sure that's a high potent number of transactions per team member. And we, of course, have leverage in it. And I want to share with you the leverage because that's where one of the big difference makers is. Am I sharing my screen here? There we go. Okay, buttons are tricky. So we have 6 partners, 6 showing partners. Then we have some partners on our listing side as well. But I'll put it all into this partner conversation because that's where we're going today. 6 partners, 4 ISAs. Those are inside sales agents, people that are setting appointments for our agents all day long. In fact, our agents only have the job and responsibility of lead generating from their own sphere. Our ISAs handle all of the have-not mets. Our agents work with their METs, with their PCSOI, past clients and sphere of influence. Now, in leadership, we believe wholeheartedly that we are a leadership organization for development and enhancement. And so there's 4 of us in leadership. There's myself as a CEO. However, I'm only working about 15 to 20 hours a week in Hatch Realty. I have some other ventures, including this Hatch coaching gig that keep me plenty busy. So I'm not even a full-time CEO. We do have a broker that oversees things. We have somebody who's our trainer and expansion director and our office manager. We have 2 people in marketing right now, a marketing director and a photographer. We're adding on a videographer here in the next few months also. And then 9 admin. Lots of leverage with what we're doing because we believe that agents are going to be best not doing admin work, and they're going to have their biggest success when they are only doing that in which they are designed to do. So Let me break this down for you. This is really important, is the rule of 20 to 1. Please write this down, the rule of 20 to 1, the rule of 20 to 1. I've studied top performing real estate teams across the country. Fortunate to have some great relationships with people. And I asked them all, not how many agents do you have? It's a really common question that we ask, is how many agents do you have? But instead, how many team members do you have? And what I found is that across the board, no matter what the design was for most real estate teams, I've seen that the rule of 20 to 1 is the common rule. That means that if you have a normal average sales price, meaning probably $180,000 to $330,000 or so, so kind of right in that middle, if you have a lower average sales price or a higher average sales price, this adjusts, the rule of 20 to 1 adjusts. But we can see a traditional 20 transactions per every one team member. So if you have 100 transactions that your team does, to be right at that peak efficiency, you should be at about 5 team members. You want to do 500 transactions, that means you need 25 team members, if you see that simple math. Now, a lot of people will say, you know, Eric, I have 10 team members, but we only do 160 transactions a year. Well, don't say only, because 160 is still a lot of transactions. And what I see is if your average is 16 to 1 in that aforementioned example, you have the ability to get better with your conversion and get more out of the people that you have. Sometimes we throw more buyer agents at problems to try to think that that's going to increase our ratio, and really it doesn't. We should be able to monitor the dollars spent, the people that we have in our ecosystem and everything else, and expect a healthy 20 to 1 ratio. I'm curious in the chat bar, if some of you want to share your numbers, where are you at for your ratio? Some of you might be solopreneurs and you haven't built a team yet. And so I'd love to know, I'm doing 30 transactions on my own, or I'm doing 100 transactions on my own, or we're doing 200 transactions with 8 people. Well, that means you're really crushing it, but you're about to get crushed. So that's a really important number. Put in the chat box where you're at, because I'd love to see where this group is at as we digest. 45 on your own, Tammy, that is a lot. You're drowning right now in both missed opportunity and probably an overabundance of work. And my guess is I'm going to show you here how this can save your hide. I'll show you how most people build their teams here. And most does not mean best. I subscribe to a very different philosophy of what it takes to build a real estate team. We have minimized our turnover. We have maximized the success of the people that are here. And it does cost me. I'll show you where it costs me. And these are things that I'm willing to invest in because I know the amount of things it doesn't cost me. So here's another team. If they're doing 800 plus transactions like we are, they're going to have probably 32 agents in production, 5 listing agents, 27 buyer agents, or something like that. Notice there's really very minimal leverage across the board. And I want to ask you, as you look at this, what is the quality of life for these agents? Or if you're like Tammy, who was kind enough to speak up saying that she's doing 45 transactions on her own, what is the quality of life? Because I probably assume that the quality of life is ugh. A buyer agent in an ecosystem like this will get to do 20 or 30 transactions in a year, and then oftentimes they become a flight risk. They say, where's my spot to grow here? And take a look. Where's the spot to grow? How does somebody massively earn more income and work less in this model? Because it doesn't exist. It's one of the big problems in designing teams is that oftentimes people think that more is the way to scale. And it's not. More transactions, more people all doing the same thing is not the way to scale. I had this conversation with a good buddy in my world. He and I own a marketing company together. His marketing company is a team of 5. How many different hats do they have to wear as a marketing company? They have videography, they have website design, they have graphic design, they have audio engineering, they have all these different kind of production pieces. They have print, they have social media, they have content writing, all these things. Each person has to wear 20, 30, or 40, or 50 different hats. Tammy, who's doing 45 on her own, 45 deals on her own, she's wearing so many different hats. And I want to help you see that adding somebody to the same spot that you're at, another person in production, actually costs you money and doesn't make you the money that you could. I want you to know this, understand this, write this down. I am the most valuable resource in my world. You, as the producer, as the rainmaker, as the big cheese, as the head honcho, you are the most valuable resource in your world. It is up to us to build leverage around that. So I am so excited about this. Keep your questions and comments coming. I, again, want this to be really interactive if you so choose to go that route. So take a look. I have a recommendation on who you should hire first. This is for you, Tammy. This is for everybody else watching. First hire is an admin. This is your, I can breathe hire, taking things off your plate. I, in fact, think that this first admin that you hire, they might be your personal assistant. Again, you are the most valuable resource in your world, and you should be hiring somebody and empowering somebody to step up and to leverage you. So from bringing your dog to the vet, to bringing your dry cleaning to the cleaners, to taking all that admin work off your plate that you've been doing to everything else, hire an admin, not a buyer agent, not a buyer agent, not a buyer agent. And I'm going to tell you exactly why in a moment. The next hire is another admin. That admin is going to now help you grow. The first one is to leverage all that stuff that is not your income producing stuff. That's that first one. The second admin is probably on the marketing side, helping out to blast to your database. You're not even buying leads at this point if you're doing it right. You are just giving so much attention and focus to your clients and to your database. Again, maximizing your dollars and minimizing your spend. An admin, I live in Fargo, North Dakota, and an admin is going to cost me $30,000 to $40,000 a year as a starting salary. If they have experience, maybe I'm more at that 40 or 45 number. But if my average commission in Fargo is about $7,000. I only need to sell 6 houses in a year to pay for the entire salary of an admin. And do I think that somebody coming into my world can leverage me and can help me sell at least 6 more houses by taking off all that busy work? And I say that because I want you to have that exact same mindset when it comes to making a hire of somebody in production. See, the sexy thing is I'm going to hire 5 buyer agents or 1 buyer agent or 200 buyer agents, and they are going to come in and they're going to make money where I wasn't making it otherwise. Right? Sounds attractive, but here's the nitty-gritty truth of that all. That buyer agent probably isn't trained to excellence. They're probably trained to standard, but they're not trained to excellence. And you're giving them $10,000 in commission, hoping that they bring back $5,000. And they're not going to convert like you do. They're not going to have the success rate that you do. And you've now taken what could have been $10,000 in your pocket, and you've given $5,000 of it away, and they don't even bring back $5,000. They don't. They're not going to convert like you do. This works for rainmakers, and this works for agents on a team. You have to understand that it's the same model. Because if I go back to my screen here, I want you to see that my first hire of a production hire is number 3, is a showing partner. If you're on a team right now, your team should be providing number 1 and number 2 for you. That those admin and those leverage pieces of somebody doing listing coordinating and somebody doing marketing and somebody doing transaction coordinating, somebody helping with your database, those admin pieces are afforded to you if you're on a team. At least they should be. If you're on your own, admin are your first 2 hires. But from there is not a buyer agent, it is a showing partner. I can't vehemently recommend this enough. That showing partner is a way for you to not give away $10,000 every time, hoping that they bring back so much more for you. It doesn't work that way because nobody's as good at converting as you are. So why aren't you protecting your money and hoarding it to the masses? I want to share with you 3 examples. The first is I have some people that I've had a chance to coach down in Kansas City, Missouri. This husband and wife team, man, they work so hard. Don't get me wrong, we always exchange time for money. And we think that exchanging this time in a buyer agent's world for money is the way to do it. But I challenge them to use the showing partner model. Her name is Anna, and Anna, she served with as the listing agent and the buyer agent. Her husband, Zach, was her showing partner. They then had an ISA help to convert some leads for them. They're pretty heavy into Zillow and Ylopo. They then hired an admin to help with all of that behind the scenes stuff, the transaction coordinating, the listing coordinating, and whatnot. And then they have a second showing partner. That team of 5 will not adhere to the 20-to-1 rule. As I record this, it's June 23rd, and they've already done 100 transactions for the year between what they've pended and closed. In less than 6 months, they're pacing to do 200 deals with 5 people. And do you know what they're spending? They're giving a salary to their ISA with a small bump. They're giving a salary to an admin. And then they're giving a salary to a showing partner. If each of those salaries is $33,000, they're giving $100,000 in cash to salaries. But if their average commission is even $6,000 on 200 deals, that's $1.2 million in GCI with $100,000 in salaries. Do I have your attention yet? Because they're able to maintain so much profitability. Yes, they have marketing expenses and other things, but they are not giving 50% of those commissions away or 40% of those commissions away. 50% of 1.2 million is $600,000. They're dealing with a gross of 1.2 million and keeping all that commission to cover expenses and to live a lavish lifestyle instead of giving half of that commission away to somebody else. I hope it's starting to click. Let's talk about example number 2. I have a buddy and a coaching client in Breckenridge, Colorado. His name's Pete. Pete runs an average sales price of $700,000 in Breckenridge, Colorado. And he went to me and he's like, hey, he was coaching with me. It's like, hey, I think I should hire a buyer agent. He had an admin and was ready to scale to that next piece. And I'm like, dude, don't hire a buyer agent, hire a showing partner, because you only need to do 5 deals, you only need to do 2 extra deals in the year in order to justify that commission that you would be keeping yourself instead of now choosing to pay for a salary. 2 deals. And do you think a showing partner in your world that leverages out all of your showings and covering your butt and acting as an extra connector to the clients, do you think that's an easy way to sell at least 2 more houses? For Pete, it made awesome sense. The third example is I have a husband and wife team that I coach up in Washington. Their names are Mike and Rachel. Mike and Rachel aren't afraid of the grind. And so a year ago when they started coaching with me, they had 17 agents on their team. Their profitability was like this. It was so not good. I challenged them to not just fire people, but to give them a chance to coach up or coach out. And we really revamped their ecosystem together. They now operate with, I believe it's 4 buyer agents. Mike is serving as a buyer agent and an ISA. Rachel, his wife, serves as the listing agent. And then they have a couple of admin. Altogether, they're a team of 10. Mike and Rachel will net 7 figures this year. That's a lot of money. They're going to sell 1/3 to 1/4 of the houses that I'm going to sell. Granted, their sales price is double what ours is, so that sure helps. But they're going to probably profit more in their business than I am because they are in the grind and they're hustling. And right now, a lot of you are thinking, I want to get into this game to make a lot of money or to live the lifestyle that you want or to have time on your hands. But most of the time, you're doing all of that a little bit wrong. I'm convinced that the showing partner model of leveraging you is the right way. Now, back to the PowerPoint here, that after you hire your showing partner, which again leverages so many great things in your life, you then hire an ISA. You're now starting to bring in extra business that you can't even get to on your own, because when the number 5 hire comes, this next showing partner, your first showing partner graduates to a buyer agent. hear that so clearly is that graduation and earning your spot as a buyer agent is earned and not given. If you can have one takeaway from today in terms of how I think you can grow a really healthy and great ecosystem, everything is earned, nothing is given. See, if somebody wants to have a chance to earn a spot of making 40 or 50% of commission as a buyer agent, don't you think that it's imperative that they be qualified first? See, this showing partner model serves as your bench. It serves as your farm system, breeding and creating talent so that you can, with confidence, put them in that conversion role. And when you give them 10,000 bucks, they can bring back 5 every time. Earned, not given. It is a big game changer and will challenge you to recreate your ecosystem. Now, let's use simple math. I want you to see this. $10,000 is the example here, a $10,000 commission. So with a 3% commission, that's about a $330,000 house. Now, I'm not here to tell you what your split should be. Most splits I see for a buyer agent is 40-60 or 50-50. So that means you as a company will get $4,000 to $5,000, or excuse me, $5,000 to $6,000, and them as an agent will get $4,000 to $5,000. Will this buyer agent convert at the level you expect? No, they're not you. It takes years and years and years to convert at a really high level. How much will that actually cost you? If you were the guy converting and you had 5 deals that you converted, that's $50,000 in commission. 50 grand is an obscene amount of money. If you are now taking that 50,000 and giving that to a buyer agent, let's say they convert 3 of those 5. That means they're bringing back $30,000, but they get half of that. So they get 15 and you get 15. Would you rather have $15,000 or $50,000? And then we just multiply this over and over. Tammy, you have a great question about how to pay the showing partner. I promise you I will get there. I want to stick with this here for another brief moment. So again, using that simple math, if you're paying instead a salary to a showing partner, I recommend somewhere from $2,500 to $3,000 a month. And they get that money just like any other employee. By the way, if you're an employee of a company, you are not an independent contractor. Wrangling independent contractors is like trying to put a cat in the bathtub. It's just really difficult to do. However, if you have somebody who is an employee, they have to check the boxes. They have to show up at a certain time. They have to do the job that's set out for them. How many extra deals are possible in your world if you have somebody leveraging you for all of these showings? And frankly, here's what a showing partner does. They're going to leverage your time for showings, going to inspections, running around town. They're an admin with a license, and yet they are on their way. And don't treat them like an admin because it's a very different job and skill set. But you need to understand that as an employee, they have to do what you say. Now, I'm not one for control. In fact, I think the less control we put on people, the more in control we become, because we need to create an environment that is set up for them to win. But you need to understand that your leverage of your life and your time allows you to be in production that much more, and your dollar per hour in production is the highest in the company. Also, you're not paying any commission to these licensed agents. They are earning a spot and entering in. So by the way, this works for agents on your team as well. This isn't just for you as the rainmaker. However, if you don't have a team yet, hire a showing partner before you hire a buyer agent. Please, 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 if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do that every single time. Now on my team, all my agents use the showing partner model because they scale their time, they maximize their money, and it's a really good life. So a very simple question is, who is drawn to the partner model? Not us as agents, but who are we looking to hire? Right now in COVID time, this is the most opportunistic time to make hires in the history of our world. There are 20 or 30 million people that are currently unemployed looking for jobs. How many of them have the financial security to jump into a full commission job? Is the answer slim or is the answer none? Now, here's who actually can jump into a full commission job. Number one, somebody with a massive savings account or really great spending habits. That's not many people. Number two, somebody with a sugar mama or a sugar daddy. Number three, somebody with a trust fund. Number four, somebody with really bad financial habits. And that's it. That's who we look to hire when we hire buyer agents, is one of those four people. And we try to say, I want that first one. I want somebody with really great habits, but chances are number 2, 3, or 4 is going to show up. And you can find success in that, sure. It's just more difficult because of the lifestyle that they've been afforded. So here's the deal, here's the gist. And Dan is asking a great question. Here's what he says. How do you keep someone at $36,000 per year? It's not a ton of money, so do you expect a lot of turnover? Dan, the feeling of progression in this role is amazing. In fact, studies will show that the number one thing in life and the number one thing in business that leads to job satisfaction is the feeling of progression, the feeling like you're getting somewhere. And so we create a very clear roadmap that I'll articulate here soon on how somebody can go from being a showing partner to an agent, to an elite agent, or to a manager. Again, if they don't see a place for them to go and grow, they're gone once they hit a talent point and they figured out how to do the game. If you can show your people, here's what you need to do to graduate to this next step, you've created now an ecosystem, a farm system of talent. You want to get paid like a doctor, you got to grind through it just a little bit. And every agent on my team, every agent that's in production this year is going to make between $120,000 and $350,000 in net income in Fargo, North Dakota. And the people that we're finding to be on our team in these partner roles are bartenders and servers and people fresh out of college and all these other things. They are talent with a capital T, but they don't have the financial wherewithal in how to grow this kind of world. They don't know how to get there because they want to be an entrepreneur, they want to grind, and they want to crush it. And I'm telling you, this showing partner model creates an entry point for people who need financial security and have a massive appetite for big bucks. Every single agent that I've hired in the last 8 years now of doing this game has had 0 real estate experience. I don't believe in realtors who have been licensed elsewhere. I just don't. I want to find somebody who is that barista that's unbelievable, who couldn't get a job in real estate if they went full commission, and I want to put them in this partner role. And I want to say, here's your salary of $30,000 or $40,000, and here's a chance for you to earn commission as you go. And here's a chance of what you can do in 3 years or 2 years when you do what our ecosystem shows you to do. Gang, hear this. I have hired 60 or 70 partners and agents in my career as leading a team. Every single one of them is still in production today unless they've chosen to go to another career. They didn't crash. I didn't have anybody that's ever failed in real estate because we put them into an ecosystem that's designed for them to succeed instead of that 84% margin of what happens with realtors when they jump in and can't make it. My commitment to my team is so big that somebody at a $36,000 a year salary says, hell yeah, I want to do that. We have a guy named Cole on our team. Cole came to us at making $85,000 a year as a construction manager. He came to us because Kyle on our team recruited him. Kyle was making $75,000 a year as a structural engineer. And they both took a job to be a showing partner at $30,000 a year plus some commission that they can make. They took between a 50 and a 70% pay reduction to come and work with us. And they did that for 1 or 2 years until they got a chance to really wet their chops and make a huge living. This year, between Kyle and Cole, they're going to average about $300,000 each of what they're going to make. And it just took them a couple of years to get there. So people who are massive talent, people who can't afford to do it and everywhere else are drawn to this model. And now I want you to understand how good that is for your team, because you've taken somebody who maybe they started off as an agent and now they're selling 20 or 30 homes, and they look at you and they say, what's next? The conversation they will have with you is, hey, can I get paid more? I'm doing a lot of deals. Can I get paid more? If you say no, they gone. If you say yes, you're broke. What you have to say is, hey, let's grow a business for you. See, we have to stop thinking of ourselves as realtors and start thinking of ourselves as business people. And business people need to understand the difference between exchanging time for money. If you are a massive salesperson, if you're like Tammy that does 45 deals a year, Tammy, I can confidently say that in the next year, if you hire 1 or 2 admin and a showing partner, that's going to cost you $100,000 between those 3 things. But my guess is you can do a minimum of 80 transactions. Even if you have the same commission split that I do, if you make an average of $6,000 or $7,000 a commission, you do 80 deals, that's $480,000 of gross commission income. $100,000 in expenses for salaries, and now you're at $380,000 that you get to have for you. And guess what? Guess what, Tammy? All that money is yours. You're not giving half of it away. You're not giving that money to somebody else. You are keeping that for yourself, and you just bought back how much time? Because 80 deals sounds like a lot, but what happens in your world when you take those 80 deals and now you share all that work with a full-time showing partner and 2 full-time admin? My guess is you have more time in your life and certainly more money. And guess what as well? Your clients are serviced that much better because you are not trying to be everything to everyone. I hope I have your attention because I'm so pumped up about this, gang. I know the difference it can make in your world because I've seen the differences made in mine and my team members. So people say, what are the responsibilities of a showing partner? And it is so simple. We have dumbed it down to the lowest common denominator. The first thing that they do is they leverage their agent. Whatever's on the calendar, the most important thing is leveraging their agent first. This comes first and always. It starts with, well, I mean, it starts with things like inspections, and it starts with showing some houses. And by the way, here's how that handoff works. I would say this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I am so excited to work with you. And guess what? Have you been paying attention to what's happening right now in your world? Have you been paying attention to what's happening in the real estate world? Yeah, guess what? There's less listings and more buyers right now. Buyers are at a disadvantage because they have to run so fast. Now, the good news is that interest rates are super low, right? And so you still have a great advantage. But let me tell you this, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would you be frustrated if you wanted to see a house and I was double booked and couldn't show it to you? Would you be frustrated if the house that you wanted to see, we couldn't get to until tomorrow and it sold today? Would you be frustrated? Have you heard other people say to you, I made an offer on the house, and because we weren't first and because we weren't fastest, we lost out in a multiple offer situation? Because gang, guess what? That's what everybody's saying right now. That's what's happening across the country in this very, very heavy seller's market. So, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's what we've done is I've leveraged an entire team of people ready to work with you and for you. And we are going to be a team where one of us will always be available to the best of our ability to show you properties. Now think of it, I'm the doctor. My showing partner, Rachel, is the nurse. She's going to be there for the day-to-day for walking through and leveraging these things out. If it's something quick that you need, or if it's something easy that you need, Rachel's going to be there. I'm here for the heavy lifting and the negotiating. I'm here to make sure that when it's surgery time, I'm the one with the knife in my hand. You deserve the best, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. You deserve the best. And we have a leverage team to make sure that we set you up for that. As you explain it in the doctor-nurse realm, we've watched people go, oh, I get it. Like, Frankly, I used to think, and my name is on everything. It's Hatch Realty, it's Hatch Coaching, it's my face. I am the mascot of our business, and people expect me. At least that's what I thought. They expect what I stand for, including my sphere and including my family. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law just bought a house with us, and they didn't work with me one iota because they want what I stand for and they don't need me. And we need to start leveraging ourselves and putting the best people in place. But the only way you can put the best people in place is if you kick butt at hiring and then you train them to excellence, not just putting somebody, throwing them to the wolves and working with them in your ecosystem so that they are a master before you ever cut them loose. And you keep your fingerprints on that to make sure that your clients get what they deserve, and that is what you stand for. So number one, job responsibility is to leverage the agent. That's you. Number two is to train. They are not there to lead generate as number three. They're there to train as number two and lead generate as number three. Because you need to get ready for your next chapter. And your next chapter is, how are you taking this world of what you're creating and making sure that you have your next player ready to go? Back in 2018 and 2019, I transitioned out 2/3 of my sales team. We had to fire some people. We had a couple people move across the country, and we had a couple people up and quit. And you saw, I'm not running with like a heavy amount of people in production. And we had the first year of loss of transactions that we ever have had before. And we lost literally 400 deals walked out the door. Either we sent them on their way or they moved or they quit, right? 400 deals of the 650 that we were doing. And here's what happened. We went from doing 664 deals in a year to our worst year that we had. And that was, we went to 636 deals. We lost less than 5% of our production because we had people ready to go, because we trained them and they learned the job for years before they ever got a chance to be in the big leagues, before they ever had a chance. And now we're on a growth path of over 30% this year because, well, those bench players were better than the last ones that we had. And now we've refilled our bench and we've leveraged them, and they know how to use that leverage even more so. Now, the final piece is lead generation, and this has become the unexpected gem of the showing partner model. In our world, in order to graduate, you need to do at least 20 deals from your sphere, from your PCSOI, from open houses and everything else. You need to do 20 deals from your sphere, and you need to have at least 2 years as a showing partner. That's how you graduate. You force us to graduate. And we thought that, oh, you know, it'll be 3 or 4 or 5 years until somebody hits that. And now we have some people hitting their 20 deals in like 15 months. We have a showing partner right now. His name is Danny. He's been with us 18 months right now. And last week, he penned, just from the deals from his own sphere, $1.3 million in volume. As a salaried employee of our company, he brought in $1.3 million of volume in a week, because he's learned how to lead generate exceedingly well. And he knows that he has to be a lead generator in order to graduate. And so now we've not only added in leverage for our producing agents, but we've added in some really powerful lead sources. Frankly, the more people you have on your team and their ability to work their sphere and fish in the pond, the better chance they have at converting more business. So the question was asked before, how do we pay a showing partner? Again, $30,000 to $40,000 in a recommended salary. And then I mentioned Danny and him bringing in $1.3 million. Danny got paid 15% of a referral bonus on the deals he brings in, because we incentivize him, and we as a company make sure that he has some skin in the game for making sure that he's getting a chance to earn beyond that $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Frankly, Danny this year will make probably $60,000 because he's bringing in that much business. And am I confident that his $60,000 will turn into $260,000 for him in 2 years? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So there's 4 ways to do this showing partner. And I want to walk you through these: rent a partner, share a partner, align with a partner, and absorb a partner. Because I remember hearing about the showing partner model. I used to be with a large brokerage before I opened up my own. And I remember hearing about this, and I would watch people talk about how they were using this, and their top agents wouldn't leave, and then they were able to sell, 20 or 30 more houses because they just put the business in the right people's hands. Awesome opportunity, of course. And then I just thought, how do I pitch this to my team? And I brought it to them and I said, gang, I have this vision. I want you to have your own team and you to pay for the salary of your own team member. By the way, gang, I don't pay for the salaries of these showing partners. Their agents do. I don't pay for them. That's pretty sweet, isn't it? And so I didn't start there. I couldn't pitch the idea of, okay, Tyler, you need to pay for the entire salary of Nick. Tyler wasn't having it because Tyler didn't believe it, and Tyler isn't an entrepreneur like I'm an entrepreneur. And so the first thing we did, the first stage is rent a partner. I hired a showing partner at $30,000 a year. I, as the company owner, hired it, and then I offered it to our agents, and they could rent that person for $25 an hour. If they use them for 30 minutes, still costs $25. But because we just wanted to make sure that, drive time and everything else was factored in there. But they got rented out, and then they basically kept a log, and they said, okay, Tyler used me for 10 hours this week, and Jeff used me for 5, and they turned in their hours, and we billed those agents, rent a partner. As agents saw, you know what, it's really nice to not go to an inspection, and it's really nice to call on someone who I know has a rapport with these clients, and that is working for me in the company. Really easy. And so soon, we got people to say, you know what, I'm willing to pay for some of this salary. And that led to this second piece, and that is share a partner. We knew that share a partner wouldn't work for a long time, but it was a great way to, again, prove the model. So we had 2 agents share 1 partner. Agent 1 paid $7,500 a year for the salary. Agent 2, $7,500 a year for the salary. And the company, the other $15,000. Then the agent, they weren't paying like per hour, per showing, but it immediately created a conflict between the 2 agents that were using the showing partner. There was a rub, and they were saying, well, I'm paying for this person's salary, so I should get to use them all the time, and vice versa. And by the way, I want to make sure I don't lose this point on you. We cast a very big vision from the beginning that these agents would be paying for the full salary of the partner. And it took us 2 or 3 years to actually get there to in with our ecosystem. So after the share a partner, and that was short-lived, that was maybe 4 months of that short-lived piece, we moved into this next phase, and the next phase is align with a partner. So I would say, Tyler, you and Nick are now partners. Tyler is the agent, Nick is the showing partner. Tyler, you are going to pay $15,000 of his salary. You're going to pay half his salary for the year, and I'll pay the other half. And we're going to do this for 12 months. And I want to prove to you that you're going to work less and sell more with this partner. Well, sure enough, 30 extra deals, 35 extra deals, 20 extra deals. I mean, it just depends on each person. But they said, look at all this. Even if your average commission is $6,000, $6,000 average commission, that means that the buyer agent is going to make 3 and the company is going to make 3. You only have to sell 10 extra houses. 3,000 times 10 houses is $30,000. You only have to sell 10 extra houses to say, you know what, I just got my money's worth with this person. I was able to do more and leverage my time, and I was in more. And then what if they bring in deals too, right? This person is going to pay for themselves over and over and over again. And then they're also your bench players ready to go into your ecosystem. It's awesome. I'm getting fired up again. Final piece is absorb a partner. That's when I, as the company owner, stop paying for the salary. And as you pitch this to your team, if you have a team, it's imperative to pitch it with the end in mind and to put time frames and benchmarks on what it's going to look like when that actually has them absorbing that full commission. Now, in our world, all of our agents use the partner model. And in fact, all of our agents have been partners before. So now they're believers in it, and they know how to treat that person exceedingly well, and it's created a really nice environment. So here's how showing partners graduate. How do they get out of this role? And I want to say this first and foremost. Sometimes somebody doesn't want to graduate. They love the role. We have a gal on our team named Britt. She's one of our partners, and she's been in the role now 2.5 years. Britt is designed more like an admin. If you're familiar with the disc profile, we know that buyer agents traditionally are high I's. The thing that accompanies the I is the D or the S. The C and the I they don't play together very often. And so you either have somebody who's an ID or an IS. I actually think that an SI, somebody who leads with their S, is the person that's not going to want to graduate from the showing partner role. They like stability and routinization and don't like to rock the boat. They're probably not going to be your best lead generators, but they are great with your systems and your database. And then the high I is on there as well. They lead with their S, but their high I gives support right there. The high I helps them connect with clients. The S is their support. Those that want to graduate are usually an ID. They maybe have a little more of an economic drive. They want to move up into the fast-paced world. They're going to handle conflict a lot better. And so an ID is the one that wants to graduate. And here are the three ways in which we allow people to graduate. The first is if they earn it. Again, we say 2 years in production as a showing partner, as well as a minimum of 20 sphere deals is the way in which you earn your spot. If somebody leaves, we may graduate somebody up. Number two, if somebody leaves, if they're gone, if they get fired, if they relocate, if they stop selling houses altogether, if they move to a different company, we need to put somebody else into a production role. And it's not the new kid, it's somebody who's been in our world and we know is a proven asset to our clients. Or number three is you happen to grow so much as a company that you need to move somebody else up into the starting role. You've gone from being a 9-man squad to an 11-man squad or whatever it may be. And so I want you to see and know and understand that this move is for everybody. I'm going to slow down here for a minute because I got really hot and heavy and I want to make sure that this point isn't missed. If you're like Tammy and you're a solopreneur, that life that you're wanting of working less and still making a ton of money is right here waiting for you. It is. It's not difficult. If you are somebody who is hot on growing a team, I recommend admin as your first 2 hires, and then a showing partner, ISA, then showing partner. Get really set up and structured so that you're not running yourself into a time in which you're giving all of your leads, all of your appointments, all of these at-bats to untrained people. Now, if you're somebody who has a team, this is a model that is the way to keep your talent both as the lead producers and converters, as well as minimizes them as flight risks. This is the why didn't I know this before? Why didn't I do this before piece? It works in low price markets. It works in high price markets. This is the one size fits all for everyone that allows you to customize what it looks like. A couple things that I'm seeing here. First, Eldo says, best webinar of the year. Thank you very much. That means a ton. For real, we at Hatch Coaching try to do about a webinar a week, and we just bring all these different topics that have helped our world. And I'm thrilled to know that this has been valuable for you. So thank you for that. I'm also a words of affirmation person. So telling me I'm pretty and that I'm doing a good job fills my bucket. Dan says, where do I sign up for the coaching? We've actually built out a module. It is a 40 or 50 video lesson training module of how to build a real estate team. Included in there is a ton of stuff on the showing partner piece. Excuse me, lunch is coming up. A ton of stuff on the showing partner piece, as well as the admin piece and everything else. We will send some information after this webinar. We're going to send all these different links. You can go to Hatch Coaching, see what we're doing, and we're really pivoting. Not only are we coaching people in a traditional sort of way, one-on-one and that sort, we have this awesome mastermind. We do an event in Fargo in September that is pretty unreal every year. It's my favorite real estate event that happens. And then we are building some really great training courses, some great modules, and some great systems to help you totally blow up your business in the best sort of way. We are helping you to scale the real estate industry with people and with systems and with processes like you wouldn't believe. So check out hatchcoaching.com, sign up so we can keep you up to date on what's going on. I'm about out of breath. Whew. Are there any final questions as we look to wrap? But again, I want to say this to see if there's any questions coming in while I try to wrap and put a bow on this. Go to hatchcoaching.com right now. Look at our events. We're doing a summit in September in Fargo. If you've never been to Fargo before, it's like the best hidden gem in the world. So absolutely come and check it out. This summit is for the best of the best of the best. And I promise you, if you don't get your money's worth, man, I'll just throw whatever I can at you to try to bring up value. But this is a big game changer for people. Take a look at some of the systems and the other things that we're doing, because it's pretty monumental. In our marketplace as well, we sell a whole bunch of things of games and training packages and things. Take a look at that. We're going to give you a 20% off discount code that we'll send with the email afterwards. And Michael asked the questions, will this recording be sent out? 100% it will. Also, it'll be on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Hatch Coaching YouTube channel, we are putting new content in there like this every week that you can digest at your own time. But subscribe to that and have your team do that also. I don't see any other final questions, so please watch your email for this to come through. If you're watching the replay of this and you need more information, reach out to us at Hatch Coaching. We'd love to help out, but otherwise, God bless you. Go hire a showing partner, make a ton of money, and make a difference in your world and everybody else's.